Hey guys, it's Ian from Recoil. I'm here north of the Arctic Circle in beautiful Kotzebue, Alaska. This isn't quite the end of the world, however you can see it from here. Kidding aside, we're here to hunt caribou. 150 miles into the boonies, completely unsupported, apart from a veterans organization that's near and dear to my heart. We're taking 3 vets on the hunt of a lifetime. My original plan for this trip was as a DIY story for Recoil magazine. They wanted to show that anybody from the lower 48, if they'd put in the preparation, the planning, and spent some time actually thinking about this, could go about having the adventure of a lifetime and not pay a whole lot of money for it. Once I'd done the original planning for this, I then figured that why not share it with a bunch of guys who probably deserve it. So I contacted my good friend Micah Clark over at Camp Patriot. He decided that, yeah, let's bring some guys in on this who deserve the trip of a lifetime. It's guys who'd served their country, guys who are carrying injuries as a result of it, and we'll see how they perform up in the wilds of Alaska.
We're in a remote part of Alaska. You don't see many people coming up here. It's an extreme kind of a place to be. It's pretty exciting, and I'm kind of an extreme guy, as some of the other guys are. And you look for the adventure. You know, you really want the adventure coming up here, and I don't think it's going to get much more exciting than this. I was in the Navy. I was a senior chief when I retired. I put a little over 20 years in the Navy. I had a desire as a young man for SEAL Team, and I pursued that and went in the Navy in 1967. Went to Vietnam in 1969, 1970. And then after that, I've been involved in several wars. My last ordeal was Libya. I was a prisoner of war for 6 months, escaped, and we've got another 2 years to get out of the country. So I'm really excited to be here, to say the least. I've got a heart condition. I've got about half of it working, lower part's dead. It slows you down, you know. That was due to Agent Orange, Vietnam type stuff. You feel it. You can't keep up with the young bucks. It's one of the privileges of growing old, I guess, you know. You slow down a little bit, you can keep going.
When people in the firearms industry hear that there's a good trip like this coming up to honor some wounded vets who've served our country and given a lot of the guys who I deal with got to know about it, and they went, hey, we'd like to help out. Kimber really stepped up.
Oh, it's so heavy!
All these guys have made a living out of humping heavy gear over mountainous terrain. These things are like carting magic wands. We couldn't really have asked for any better. They're like 5-pound rifles. Loophole also kitted us out with optics for the whole run. So you're going to need those. You're also going to need some ammunition. From Barnes, we've got Kimber also sent along some 10mm for their protection. I'm going to have one of those on my hip. And then over here we've got a rescue rack.
I think we've already started seeing some of the things that are really beneficial that, you know, I didn't necessarily expect to see or to be a significant part of the trip, and that's getting to meet new people who have similar experiences. Though we've served in completely different time periods, different wars, different places around the world, we all within minutes of meeting each other are able to connect. You know, it's funny, I met Rocky 2 days ago in Fairbanks, and within that day people were already asking, had we served together, and people have at this point been asking if we're brothers. So it's unique. It's a unique camaraderie, and I think that's the biggest part of the whole trip. But I'm excited to shoot a caribou as well. I'm going to start a taxidermy room, and it's going to be great.
Hey, please, biscuits and gravy.
Science.
I'm going to need a couple of these just to check that out.
Very nice. Thank you, Kimber.
The other guys, the big guy and Rocky that's going out, I'm looking more for them helping me. I'm the old guy, they're the young guy. I'm hoping they're going to carry my pack and stuff. But no, it's really, you know what's neat is I got to talk to them, and you know, there's a generation difference here, and the mindset, the thought. It's so neat to see young men that are still proud of America. It's so neat to see young men that are willing to fight and give their life for America. This is an incredible deal. So I don't often get a chance to, you know, get together with younger military people. With these two guys, it's a great experience. I really appreciate them, and it's rewarding just to be able to be around them. It helps everybody. It's a neat deal.
All right, guys, as you know, When we set off on this venture, we were planning on taking those rafts over there with us and paddling out for 10 days. It looks like the plans have changed due to the caribou, and there's two factors actually. The caribou herd have gone through there and they've passed us by.
Kill something, or you talk about it for a while?
So it looks like the caribou herd have passed us by, and also now it looks like the river is getting frozen. So we can't really paddle on a frozen river, so we're going to drop camp and then we're going to hunt out of camp from here on in. The guys who fly the bush planes up here are pretty special individuals, and they're willing to go out in conditions that would faze a lot of other people. They're so familiar with their planes that stuffing them to the gills and then putting a bunch of guys on top of it, they know the capabilities of their vehicles.
I've flown all over the world and some of the most boring planes imaginable. I was fairly excited to get into what looked like a pack of gum with wings and head out into the great unknown.
We were able to put their planes down on a gravel bar in about 50 yards of runway.
Well, I was telling them it was better than any Alaska Air landing I've had thus far in the state. So
We got all the wood.
We got to send a detail out to get some wood.
great bathing spot.
Get a fire started. I'm ready to go back to the hotel.
The pilots, so my hat's off to them. They did a great job. Not only are they good at flying, but they're excellent at putting you down to where you're going to game. So I was very, very impressed with them. Well, the campsite, I think we were all impressed with it. I don't think we could ask for a better area.
The gravel bar itself, yeah, it lacked a few amenities. There weren't any showers, and there certainly wasn't any fast food joints around, but we made the best of it. You know, seriously though, these guys, they've been living in the field for a long time. They're trained soldiers, and they have a lot of experience of administering themselves and keeping themselves healthy, fit, and no whinging in the field conditions. So it was really a pleasure to spend time with them. When we got into location, we then found that we were in a fantastic spot for hunting purposes. We had this great ridge at the back of camp, and we could just hike up there, and we could glass for miles and miles. So if there were any caribou moving, we'd have a lot of time in order to get into position to ambush them. First day, we pretty much spent a whole of our time there just glassing and imagining things and glassing some more. We did, however, see some wildlife other than caribou, some moose, some bear. Well, gentlemen, I guess we're no longer the top of the food chain. It was really surprising how much wildlife there was to see. Despite the fact that we didn't see any caribou on our first day, we knew that we're heading out in a direction. So the second day, everybody was up bright and early, headed up on the ridge, and as soon as we could see anything moving, everybody was concentrating on it. So, is that a caribou? No, that's a caribou. And still, no sign of caribou. It wasn't until later in the day when Nick decided to hike up.
We went up to the ridge line at the end of the day. Didn't think anything was going to be happening, and there was about 4,000 caribou in total moving through the mountain.
We tried to sneak down the ridge, down in the forward slope, into an area where we figured the caribou would cross. Just as we were anticipating the whole herd coming into view, we heard a shot from Rick. So it completely spoiled our plans, because the caribou then started hauling ass across the tundra.
Looks like Rich got a caribou from the campsite. No, yours is the massive one.
Did you get a massive one?
He got it.
We were limited.
It's big, but it's...
Yeah, right where I aimed. Right in the brisket neck, lower neck. Remember that? That's the only shot I had.
Did you shoot it from your chair?
I shoot it on a run. We was about 500 yards downriver, and we were running. I had to take it from the hip. Wasn't easy, but all that training paid off. Nice clean shot. He went down pretty quick.
They're going to come into range there. There's a cross in between those trees. The ball, take him. Good hit. Reload. He's not going far. You get him again. He's going to go down. Take him if you can get him. Wait a minute, he's going down. He's going down. He's going down.
Man, we had about a 75 to 100 yard shot. Too easy. Sergeant Major, retired, U.S. Army. Veteran of 23 plus years service. Spent the better half of it supporting the global war on terrorism. Multiple deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. I was involved in an improvised explosive device attack in Rashid, Iraq in 2007, and I sustained a traumatic brain injury. I'm getting better, which is, you know, I attribute that to getting out and doing stuff. You can't get yourself psychologically sound if you're not physiologically right. Finding ways to get in tune really make a big difference, and there's a lot of ways. But wonderful benevolent organizations and guys that come together like Recoil and Camp Patriot to put together an opportunity like this. It helps. You're out in fresh air, which is probably one of the best forms of therapy you can get, and you're faced with a challenge and you have to move forward. You got a team. It's just like being in the military. I mean, it brings that camaraderie back. You got guys to your left and right that you have to support. You can't hold them back. So you gotta push through, and it forces you to be right back in that state, and you come out of it on the other side a better person.
I am sad to say that though I spotted the caribou, I did not shoot one. I decided to let the rangers lead the way and have Rocky take one down. And so we started cleaning those, but unfortunately it was late in the day, so we only got to field dress them and had some trouble getting everything in, had to leave a little bit for the next day.
Once that was taken care of, it was back to camp, fed, good night's sleep, and then up at the crack of dawn again to get into position to intercept the herd that we knew were in the area. We didn't know how many were left, so we were going to take the first one that we saw.
Yeah, everything on that small herd that we were originally hunting, they're pretty small. It's almost all cows, and as we're restricted to shooting bulls, we might as well shoot something that's going to put meat on the table.
In an ideal world, I would have liked to have stalked a little bit longer, set up, kind of gotten my breathing more regulated before I took the shot. You know, caribou was still moving. I was 203 yards away. Wasn't comfortable with the shot, but I took it anyway because he was the only one in the valley. I think that the Kimber was probably, it provided me that added assurance when I took the shot, when I wasn't quite ready, or at least, you know, where I would like to have been. So I think it made up for my breathing being a bit irregular.
Good work, dude. That was a one-shot kill. That was perfect. I saw the exit wound. You hit him, heart and lungs. Excellent. No suffering. 20 seconds max.
Glad to hear it.
Middle name is James. Some people refer to me as Nick James, similar to Rick James. I enjoy it. I was actually a specialist, E4, in the Army. Joined the Virginia National Guard in 2007, went on 2 deployments in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation New Dawn, and I got out of the Army in January of 2013. October 6, 2011, my truck was hit by an explosively formed penetrator, and I had a traumatic brain injury, injured my neck, and also injured my foot pretty severely. When I initially got back, that was when I started experiencing some of the symptoms of PTSD. Then I also had my roommate from my second deployment who committed suicide, and that was kind of when everything came to a head, and I realized I had to take care of myself. You know, getting out away from the city, getting away from getting away from other people for a short amount of time. And there's something about it, you know, it's rejuvenating. You know, you get out here and you realize that there are things so much more vast than just you, and there's something to be said about that, and it really, you know, I'm excited to wake up, and I'm excited to get on with my day and see what Alaska has for me.
When we left Kotzebue, we had 4 caribou tags. 3 of them had then been filled. I was the only guy left.
Kind of waiting for the next one. As you can see, we're having to work for this one. Sweat on my brow. That boy, that is huge.
I figured that the caribou would cross and a bend in the river, maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles from camp. So it was a case of, okay, let's go. I was looking through my variable power scope, and I got to tell you, that loophole was cranked up to 7 power, and it was like looking down a soda straw. So as soon as his shoulder crossed into view, I was on the trigger, and he went down. He's not a big animal, he's not a trophy book animal by any means, but I don't eat horns, so I don't really care. What he is was beautiful, healthy, free range, natural, organic, and really good eating.
A really magnificent animal, mature bull caribou.
As far as location goes, however, that caribou was not in a great spot. If I'd been sensible like Rick had been and shot him from my lawn chair, that might have been different. But the guys, they were really willing, and they threw packs on their backs, came out, we cut it up, hauled it back. There was a fair bit of cursing involved, but hey, it's all part of hunting. Getting back to camp on the last night, everybody had worked their asses off. We'd humped caribou parts and pieces over rough terrain, and got wet, and got sweaty, and got cold, and we got back into camp, and sure enough, the caribou decided they were going to cross about 200 yards right in front of us. Hey, I guess that's Alaska. Overall, this trip I think exceeded everybody's expectations. Kimber sent some awesome rifles up here. They could reach out and touch as far as we could ballistically hope for, and they were reliable, they were hard-hitting. Barnes ammunition worked perfectly. In the end though, we had a great time.
I believe that we accomplished our goal in bringing these 3 veterans out here. And it's very hard to say what one experience is going to do for all of them. You just never know. And I guarantee you, with 3 individuals, they all probably took different aspects of this trip and have applied it to their life and what it's done in their healing process. So it may not be the same thing across the board, but we love them and we thank them for their service. And it's just one of those things that we're very thankful that we're able to put these kind of trips together that can help somebody and maybe create hope in their life.